Hey everybody, it's Josh from Rust Belt Diecast Racing, and if you guys don't know, I make and sell these Waterslide decals, also for trade and everything too. But I've gotten some requests. I include directions with them, but obviously a video is better, so I've gotten a bunch of requests from customers for a video of how to install these decals. So here it is. This is everything that you need to do this properly. Of course, you need water for the Waterslide decals, and you need the decals. Now you only need enough water to submerge the decals, and we're gonna do one decal at a time. That's what I recommend. Don't drop them all in at once and then rip them all up. Just one at a time. So you only need enough to submerge it. I like to have, maybe like that much water in there, just about an inch or so. And then you of course need the car, and today we're using this Volkswagen. And I love this thing. This is something I'd really recommend for any kind of customizing work. This is called a helping hand or a third hand. I don't use a magnifying glass that much, but these are great. You can see, like, I can set this up and I got two hands to work with, so it really helps a lot. A good pair of scissors. I like the short blade scissors because there's a lot of small detail work that we're going to do with this project today. Tweezers. I like the angled tweezers because you can get in to different places a lot easier with the angled tweezers. And of course some Q-tips. Maybe not of course, but yes, you do need Q-tips. Some people use paper towels. I prefer these cotton swab Q-tips for drying water and applying water to the model itself. So first what you want to do is cut out your decal. So I'm going to use this one here that's going to go on the hood of the car. So you just want to just rough cut it out to start. And then when you cut it out for the final cut here, you want to make sure that you do rounded edges. So you can see where I'm going here with the rounded edges. Go around everything, make it nice and smooth looking, because square edges will show up as far as backer. It's not super noticeable, but for a perfectionist like me, I like to not see the edges. You're going to see a little bit sometimes, but on light colors you shouldn't see edges at all. So we want to make sure those corners are nice and rounded. Now on something like this that has square corners, it's not a big deal because you're not going to have any clear there. You're cutting right up to the edge. Another tip is do not cut into the ink. So if you cut into the ink, I always provide multiple versions of each thing. So there's like 3 of these hood decals and you only need one. If you cut into the ink, get a new one, because it is not going to work. It will bleed because you're cutting the protective surface there. So now that you have your decal trimmed out, you'll want to just dunk it in the water, and you can use your tweezers to kind of push it down like that. And you're just going to want to sit for like 15 seconds. So in the meantime, you can take your car here and use a Q-tip to just wipe down the area that you're going to be applying the decal to, and then dry it up a little bit. I do it dry. I know a lot of people that do the decals, they apply them wet. I like to do it like this though. I find I have a little more control. So once your decal is sitting in there for like 15-20 seconds, it should slide right off the backer like that. And you'll see you have a little bit of water. You can kind of wick that off. And then all you do is just drop it on. Now this is where your Q-tips are going to come into play. So you'll take a Q-tip here, and you're going to use that to kind of push it around the decal to get it lined up properly, and then you just dab. So that's pretty lined up there. And then you just want to dab the edges to get out any water. And then what I do, this is kind of like a little thing that I just do, I've never seen someone do this before. You roll the Q-tip like this, and that's going to force out the water. Now a lot of people with Waterslide decals, they say to just let it sit, but I've found if you let it sit and sometimes you're like walking past it, just the vibration of your feet on the floor will move this a little bit and it'll float on the water. That's the whole point of Waterslide decals, is they float on the water so you can get them down right. But yeah, I just roll like this to get all the water out before it finally dries. You might get a little edge there to do that. So you can see that blended in really nice with the yellow. Light colors work so well with this. I've done even like red or like a blue too. Red's about as dark as you can get with these decals before you start seeing some weirdness. So that's it right there. What you're going to want to do is let this dry. Now that you've forced all the water out of it, you can let it dry for a few hours. I like to give it a few hours, sometimes even overnight, just to be perfectly sure that that it's completely dry. Because once you hit it with the clear, it's going to get messed up if there's water underneath, because it'll evaporate up and push up the clear. You'll get some like nasty effects on it. So what you want to do next after you let it dry for a few hours or overnight, like I said, you want to use an acrylic clear. Now I use an Arlene's acrylic clear spray. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it at Hobby Lobby, Walmart carries it too. And you just want to spray it on, nice even coat to start with. And I usually do 2 to 3 coats depending on how it looks after 2. So you let it dry completely. The way you can tell that you can dry it is the same thing before you start the decal process, is you smell the car, and if you can smell heavy fumes, like spray paint fumes, then it's still outgassing. So if you put the decals on, it'll actually push it off because the fumes are still escaping. But if it smells like finished paint, like after you paint a wall or something like that, it smells like finished paint, then you're okay to go. So same thing goes with the clear. The clear dries a lot faster than the paint, so you shouldn't have an issue with in between coats. Some people put a second coat on while it's still kind of tacky. I usually let them dry completely just so that I have a nice hard base coat to start with. So that's it, folks, and I'm going to put the rest of these on and run clear coat over it, and I'll show you the finished product. And here's the finished product after a couple clear coats. You can see the edges of the decals pretty much disappear, and you're left with this beautiful, shiny awesomeness. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helps in when you're doing your decals, when you're applying them and everything. Hopefully that helps. Nothing fancy. It's pretty simple tools and a pretty simple application. It just takes some time to get good at it. So if you want to see more of these builds in progress, check out our Facebook group. It's Rust Belt Diecast Racing on Facebook, and of course like and subscribe right here at Rust Belt Diecast Racing on YouTube. Thanks for watching.